Welcome, people of the World Wide Web, and it's another movie review. As I stated, I had two this week, so I went to see. I will do that side. Air. So, anybody who doesn't know, obviously, Air is a Nike product. Air Jordans, they are trainers, and this is kind of the story of how they come about. It is directed by Ben Affleck, starring Ben Affleck, mainly Matt Damon, obviously. Also, Jason Bateman is in it, Chris Tucker, and a few other little people here there. And I must admit, I was just intrigued for it. I'm not a big shoe person. I have big shoes, but I'm not a big shoe person. Brands and stuff like that, it is what it is. I mean, they do look nice, some of the Jordans, but I know they can go for silly money. But I was just intrigued, the story, the way the trailer I'd seen on another film I'd watched recently, and I thought I'd give it a go. So I went. I mean, I'm surprised it was in a small cinema and it was really packed, which is quite nice to see. And yeah, it was. Well, not surprising. It was a really good film. So if you don't understand, you have Matt Damon's character. He's called Sonny. He works for Nike. At this time, Nike are the third highest shoe brand. So Adidas are number one, Converse are number two, and Nike are number three. I think they had like 17, and it's all about them trying to handle their dwindling department, because obviously Nike are running shoes and that's how they were always seen. They're not seen for the basketball department. Their basketball department is very small, and it is Matt Damon's character Sonny. It's his job to try and sort it out, and they're having issues, and he kind of comes to this realization that he wants Michael Jordan. He wants to design his shoe about it. He wants to do, he kind of has this realization by watching a basketball game of his that is, and stuff, and then it's how he kind of goes a little bit above and beyond and works with certain people, and they put this plan together. Obviously, in the real world, it does happen at some point, and I say this is where it goes. It is good. And then, as I say, it is a really, really good movie. So, I put the spoiler review up because I've got a lot to talk about this film because I really, really liked it. So we shall get going. So obviously, as the film starts, obviously you meet the characters and you learn that obviously they have a limited budget. They try and get, because they're Nike, they're not regarded that well, and and the first bit of it is just come to realization that Michael Jordan is the person they want, and then it's about how to go and approach. And there are a lot of Matt Damon's interactions with people, with Michael Jordan's agent. That is quite funny. Like, those two have quite a bit of back and forth over the phone. And something you find. Let's say this film was quite funny in places, and it had a lot of other stuff going for it. And yeah, it was just fun to join the ride, learn about stuff. As far as I'm aware, like, Michael Jordan did have a lot of input from Ben Affleck, who directed the movie. He did try to get it as accurate as he knew it could be. You get to see pictures of the real life people at the end, and there are some scenes in it that seemed like there was one where quite early on, Ben Affleck, who's the CEO of Nike, he's got his feet up on the table, got no socks and shoes on. That's a bit weird, and there is a photo of that person actually doing that. So it was good that even like little nuances and little bits that were in there. And yeah, it was just really interesting. Viola Davis, who plays his dad, Michael Jordan's dad, she does really, really well, and it just shows, like, obviously how much a mother cares about someone, which I think is quite reflected in real life. You get to see little bits at the end again, like they do with most ones that are based on true events. You get to see, and I must admit, I don't know if Ben Affleck has taken inspiration from something else, and I've not seen too many real life movies lately. Obviously, I watched the Harvey Weinstein one the other day, and it is interesting how they go around. I don't know, it's just how it's shot and the whole feel of it, and kind of they have actors portraying these people, but they're done at different perspectives where you can't kind of see their face. So it isn't obviously Michael Jordan or a young Michael Jordan, it's someone else, but they cut it, and it's more about the family and other people around it. And I say, this is two films within a week I've seen that have kind of done this process, and it actually works. I think if you have a good enough story and good enough actors around you, this works actually really, really well. Whereas I think in the past, where they've tried to kind of say, like, this is someone, and you just kind of see a shoulder or a bit of back of it, that didn't work to me. I can't really recall or place a film like that at the minute, but I'm just trying to use that as an example. But yeah, it's good to see him on this journey. I mean, not knowing anything about the shoe, I mean, maybe if you're a big shoe fan, you'll know a lot about this, but not knowing about the shoe, you know that they do get Jordan in the end. And this is the thing, there are very bumps and points they come to it where it doesn't look like the deal will happen. And you don't, and honestly, it does as you're taking this journey with everyone, especially Matt Damon's character, Sonny. There are points that you're like, I mean, and the film could have been like, well, we didn't get Jordan this year, but in a few years' time or later down the line, and you know, and that's how you learn. And that's what I really liked about this film. It wasn't that literally like you knew that Nike get him, so you knew start to finish the story's going to be a smooth, oh yeah, blah 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 blah, this happens, job done. There are times where it's like, okay, you think it's going to be the end of the film, and it's like, oh no, they've hit an hiccup, and then there could be, and then there's a few other scenes and other stuff happens, and I thought that was really well, because I'm like, well, you know, he's the end result, but you don't know how they get there, and it's learning this journey and learning the journey that it wasn't necessarily straightforwards. I mean, obviously Matt Damon's character, obviously the real life person, obviously they've done a few things that I don't know if were true. When he speaks to Viola Davis and said, like, the other companies, this is how they will react, and it seems that the person he's portraying is a very true observer of people and traits and how they act and stuff, and that really played into it. And it's good to see, you know, it's something you don't always see, how people can read situations and stuff and just know how to act. I say Matt Damon's character, he's a little bit of a wild card in places, and I say, and as it's portrayed, Nike were in a lot of issues, you know, they're the third highest one, and this, like, Jordan's put them on the map, and you know, and this idea and how all these ideas came to fruition, you know, even though Matt Damon's character has this notion, it's the shoemaker that they have, and their ideas, and how they implement those ideas and what they're going to do with it, because there are restrictions and stuff at the NBA at this time. And it's interesting that they happen to choose the right kind of ideas and options that actually get them to where they are now, which is, you know, I think they said it's like 400 million they make off not Air Jordans a year, which is just astonishing. Obviously, seeing how I know how expensive I've seen some people sell Air Jordans and stuff for. There is that. Another thing of this movie, and I've never said this in a review yet, and there ain't many movies I watch, is the soundtrack is stunning. It's classic 80s, there's Cyndi Lauper, there's a few other you know, popular songs in there, and that was, and I say, it's a film that I've watched in a long time. I sat there and every song I was bopping along and really enjoying, you know, and yes, they are old songs and they are classics, but it all worked for it. And as I say, I can't remember a film where that isn't a musical where I've gone, every single song was bang on, you know, it fitted the tone and everything of the 80s perfectly, which is why I've rated this movie 8 out of 10. You know, it is a really, I mean, as I said, I'm not a shoe person. I saw interest. I absolutely loved this film from start to finish. The journey, the characters, as I said, even Jason Bateman, and you know, they humanise the characters with a few little like nuances and other stuff that you don't realise how much people were putting on the line for something that could happen. I mean, nobody knew what Michael Jordan would become at this time, and this is the thing, that it is a lot of faith, because as they've said, as they do mention it, like, they could put all this money and all these resources and everything behind Michael Jordan. He blows out his knee into his first season of games and he's done, and they have wasted everything. And with such a company that has been built up and is quite low in ranks, that could have possibly screwed the company, maybe even bankrupt them. And it even shows that at the end, because of Nike and these decisions, luckily, they bought Converse, they bought the second rival above them, which, you know, but, I mean, I don't know how many of these ideas were ever floated out with artists and stuff like this, but it just works. It just works so well. I mean, I've watched mostly everything Ben Affleck has directed, and he is spot on in everything. You know, he knows his audience. He knows that people direct, maybe because it's Friends and stuff like that. But and I know it's something different from the kind of crime he'd done from like The Town and stuff like that. But I think, you know, really, really good. I mean, absolutely love this film. Like, love the 80s anyway and stuff. But yeah, he just hits all the right buttons, music, you know, acting and stuff. So I can't praise this enough. I mean, to be honest, it probably could be more than an 8. But I want to let the novelty and everything wear off it and watch it in 6 months and a year and see if I like it just as much. And if I rewatch it and like it much, I would probably increase that ranking. But at this time, it is an 8 out of 10. So anyway, hope you liked my second movie review of the Easter weekend. Hopefully you're having a nice time and not eating too much chocolate. I've been Cypher Sigma, and I'll see you in the next one.